Welcome to a quick update on how things are going at the end of March. These are my Mirabelle cuttings, and already Mirabelle, which is a form of plum, some of them are already going to blossom. Yes, you could argue that would already happen, but I put the root hormone powder at the end and I'm hopeful that some of these Mirabelles will take. Fruit tree cuttings also seem to have been successfully coming out of bud, and now is the last chance to take cutting. Since I grow a lot of soft fruits, I do use secateurs a lot, and these bypass secateurs and anvil secateurs seem to me a very good deal, and they're on at Lidl at the moment, very reasonably priced. They're Teflon coated, they say, claiming that the anvil will cut hardwood up to 10mm in diameter, and the bypass one, it looks a very efficient cutter. Morrison's have also got a pruner on offer, which is a bypass pruner with carbon steel blades. Yet to try this one out. I've had one similar before. Okay, and I got these also from Poundland Plant and Shrub Ties. Got 50, so that seemed quite a good buy. My softwood cuttings seem to be doing okay. These are loganberries, and these were done a lot earlier in the year, well before the beast from the east. The other little sort of spidery plants in there are actually a pond plant. The parent plant's over there, as you can see, next to the ilex, next to the variegated holly, and that seems to seed all over the place. Funny thing was, when I tried to go around the pond, it didn't like it, but it's now found its little Shangri-La in the front garden, and the offspring seem to be, as you can see, all over the place. It's quite rampant. But the loganberry cuttings are doing well. I've got them here, and also on this side here. My fig cutting here, as you can see, it's now in its second year. I would say, if you allow for all the curves and bends in the fig, it's probably about 2.5, maybe 3 feet at its maximum. This is a Buxus, which is a hedging plant, and again you see I've got a free pond plant with it. A lot of these last year I had some of them, I had to spray them with milk and bicarb because they had like a sort of a fungus growth or a mildew thing, but this one seems quite healthy. I've given it more sunlight. Last year's wild strawberries, woodland strawberries, did well in tubs, and they've come back again. Basically what I'm going to do is I will take them out of these pots and just renew the compost. I'll use some compost, Miracle Grow I think I've got, which has got little micro beads in, because they are quite a hungry crop. As you can see, these are the little woodland strawberries go right through, even as far as October, but they're only tiny, and you just pick them and put them in your breakfast. If you pop down to the range quickly, might have these still in stock. They were $2.99 each. This one is a blue crop blueberry, looked very healthy, nice pots, and I got one of that. Also a josterberry, that's a cross, I do believe, between a black currant and a gooseberry. Again, they're very healthy looking. And something I've never seen before, this is a Rubus arcticus, otherwise known as Polish bramble. It grows to about, it says, 25 centimetres high, no more. Looks like a very sort of low growing, spreading fruit. There's what the fruit's supposed to look like, and the flowers look pretty enough anyway, so I'll have a go at that. I'll look it up, and of course, knowing me, another blueberry. This one's called M-Blue, E-M-B-L-U-E. So that's 4. And I can't resist a bargain. There was another one of these going, a Patriot. Looked like they'd restocked actually. That's a Pound World if you happen to be handy. I don't know about the other one, the Poundland. I've had them from there before, but these looked quite healthy. Always check inside, I would recommend. Don't just buy the box, the pretty picture. Have a look at the plant inside. This one looks quite healthy. This year's compost, so I've got Westland Growshaw Ericaceous compost. It's got some plant feed in it as well. You get 50 litres. This was on offer at Homebase, and they claim it's got about 80% peat in it. I mean, most compost should be peat free, but unfortunately you need peat if you're going to grow blueberries. It's got iron for greener foliage as well, so this can be mixed in with ordinary compost and also my ericaceous plant feed. I also got some Miracle Grow. I got this from B&Q. That's also got those smart release feeds, which are those little beads inside compost. Show you these little sort of yellow, there's one there, you see these little beads in the top there. And I usually get Verve, which is 50%, well 58% peat. Again, they've cut down on the peat. Not too fond of some of the composts, although you should use them, the ones that come from recycling centres. They haven't really worked for me. I've also found them to be full of mould spores. I've even found non-organic waste in them, bark which has gone mouldy, and one thing I don't want on my allotment is mould. I might carry on using them if they improve the formula, because I like the idea of recycling, but at the moment I'm a bit annoyed. I actually think they should give them away free at your recycling centre. You should be able to get compost free. I'm a bit annoyed that companies are charging a fortune for them in big bags. Gooseberry and black currant cuttings here mostly. There's one there which is a fig, not sure about that, but I did put the root hormone powder on it. And at the back there I've put some little roses, ones that actually go to rosehip as well, like a wild rock rose cutting and a rose cutting there. The hardwood cuttings I've got here are mostly, as you can probably guess, blackthorn there, and some fruit trees here, but also some aronia or chokeberries, because I've only got one plant in the garden. The back here, it's also some almond, because I've got an almond tree in the garden on dwarf fruit stock. More fruit trees here, and this pot here is again more mirabelles, and they've gone to blossom. They're obviously a plum that goes to blossom even in March, so for early pollination. The hardwood cuttings I've got here are quince sedonia and also some thornless blackberries. Okay, moving swiftly on, we've got some twisted hazel. These do bear fruits, by the way, and there's some apple. These are my tea tree, looking a bit sorry after the beast from the east. A lemon verbena, not quite sure if that survived the winter outside. More hardwood cuttings of apple. My English mace has survived outside. I've repotted it. Vietnamese coriander, well, there's a little bud at the bottom of it, not quite sure about that one. These are my rootstock cuttings. I've done a little blog on them before. They are quince rootstock cuttings for when I have a go at grafting in a few years' time. And I've got my first of my blueberries here, Patriot. There's also some blue crop, and I've bought some ericaceous stuff for them, ericaceous compost. I've got a few of them. Basically this year, this very tall one, I got one from Loughborough Market for about just under a £5. Okay, that's the most woody of them. And I put the ericaceous in, and there's 3 blueberries there, Patriot and blue crop, and the rest I've got here are more cuttings. That's dwarf fruit stock. Moving down the line, I've got thyme here, which just about made it through, and some flowers, and also in my pots here I've got my quince cannellimes. I found in the original seeds I got from the garden, they had sprouted but not burst through, so I took them out of the pots, looked a bit sorry, the compost, and repotted them. Strawberry cuttings here, okay, and that's a myrtle, that plant there, and that pot there's a myrtle. Oh, it looks like my mushroom plant has survived. It's not a mushroom as in a mushroom, it's a mushroom plant. It's a herb, as it says here, mushroom plant. with a mushroom flavour. Glossy leaves, rich source of iron and vitamins, introduced from Papua New Guinea for your unique culinary experience. Well, it survived in England and it's got a little bud on it, so keep you posted on my mushroom plant. Winter savoury, I've repotted it. The roots, when I took them up, seemed okay. There were a couple of buds coming up from the roots, so winter savoury, as the name says on its tin, seems to be alright for surviving the winter. And over in these other pots, some of the other pots here, I've got to put a few wild seeds in and the usual aronia cuttings. I do like chokeberries, I like unusual plants. This year's essentials for the allotments, as you can see on the left, we have Incognito anti-mosquito insect repellent, 100% natural. It's got something called Citrapal and a camphor, Cinnamonian camphora. It just works. I tend to use the Boots one, or you can use the roll-on for mosquito. We get terribly hungry mosquitoes. The females go out absolutely have a huge hunger for you, for human blood. The other thing I got was a spray gun set, $1.99, always handy. We've got everyone sort of, I've got to bring my water butt down actually. Some compost activator, because the composting, got two massive 320 litre compost bins. DOS, blood, fish and bone, it's a must where I am. Bit of concentrated feed. On this side it's all mostly sort of Mericaceous, Miracle Grow. It's continuous release plant food. They've added iron into it, which apparently it works in acid soils, the iron, whereas if it's alkaline it doesn't. It's got all the correct micronutrients in. NPK 9, 14, 19 with iron added as a 3. So that's specialist. So I found this one, Groshaw. This was in Aldi on special. I think it was about £4 or something. And it just looks brilliant. It's got everything in it. It's even got sulfur trioxide soluble in water, and as you probably know from those of you who grow blueberries, you do need your sulfur. This has actually got it in at 20%. So perfect for making your acid compost thing to grow not just blueberries, but rhododendrons, camellias and azaleas and blueberries. And the same with DOF. That's a continuous release. This year I'm just concentrating on them growing the roots and getting lots of sunshine, 6 hours of sunshine, a bit of tomato food from DOF. And of course, at the back there, that's for when I make my tea. That's my little portable burner. Here are the results of the Nottingham Medlar germination project over winter. I planted them just before Christmas. It's now March. What I found is that I got about a 90% germination rate. Here in this pot here you will find all of the germinated seedlings. What I've had to do is empty them out of their individual pots, okay? Because over winter it looks like they germinated, but they weren't going to break out of the compost. I put plastic sheeting covering like so over it and left them outside because I do believe they need cold. The next part of the experiment I'll be using the remaining medlars which I picked up from a local tree because I live in the city, or shire shall we say, Nottinghamshire. And basically that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try experiment. So these have been over winter. These will be potted on, each one given fresh compost. I'll bring them inside on the windowsill because we have slugs and they've woken up now. These new ones we've planted up in pots and covered with plastic to try and make them slug proof and see how quickly they germinate. The other yellow things I've got here, these are the Japanese quince. It's a different plant. At the moment I've only got 2 or 3 of the Japanese quince that have germinated. Here we have 3 of the Nottingham medlars which have been brought on. Brought them inside. Got a strange sort of mottled appearance. The most advanced seedling, you can probably just about make it out there if I just take it up a bit on the power. Yeah, there it is there. I'm trying to hold the camera a bit more steady. Strange looking plant, isn't it? The Nottingham medlar, but there you go, seedling grown from seed. trying to be a bit more eco-friendly. My batteries for my camera that I do for my blogs for gardening are rechargeables, but I've rigged up this setup. It's a solar panel. It'll trickle feed a 12-volt car battery even, but I've rigged it up through a circuit board that's got various diodes and resistors. It was to charge up a lantern and a torch, a halogen lantern torch, but it's got an LED light on and a little circuit board. This stops the current from your solar panel being forced back by the batteries, because there's like a little component, the diode or something, so the current only goes one way. These were flat, and when I measure the voltage by the end of the day, they're nearly fully charged, so not too bad. Does 4 AA's in a day. So I've gone all solar. In order to attract pollinators to the garden, I've got jasmine and also honeysuckle, which was the favourite of the Romans. Honeysuckle, they believed that they brought this to Britain as well. So these here above my doorway attract bumblebees. Nice to see the flowering red currant at the end of March finally bursting, and the bumblebees, of course, we're around this, they'll be hungry this time of year. Seen 1 or 2 anyway, even in February. The frogs are still happy in the pond. I've got 3 of them at the moment, and basically I'm going to get some more oxygenating plants, but they've settled in well now. That's it for now. Thanks for watching my Easter update, and I'll keep you posted as to things on the allotment, and next video I'll do some shout outs.